Hello, hello, Renee McLaughlin here, and we are doing a Facebook Live. So, a few weeks ago, when I did a Facebook Live to talk about how to use your walking poles and just share some of the great walking workouts that we have on TTAP, I asked, hey guys, anybody want some more walking tips? And it was unanimous. You guys wanted walking tips. So I thought, why not come on and just give you a few more tips? So make sure if you have any questions or comments, please put it down there. I'd love to see it. A heart here and there is always wonderful. All right, sorry, that's really selfless promotion, right? So let's get started right away. Now, with walking tips, there are two ways that I can give you tips. One is, give me some tips, Renee, from how I can use to do my walking outside when I'm out fitness walking or just walking throughout the day. And then what tips can I use for my indoor step away the inches type of walking workout? And some of them are the same and some of them are a few different. So I thought tonight, let's just start with how to get more benefit or more results from your step away the inches or your indoor walking workouts. So whenever we start, of course, I always start with the feet because that's the foundation of the body. So I'm going to kind of start a little bit down with the feet. Now, one of the things to think about is with all of this, all of the walking, this is all just about having great posture. It's posture power. So it's all the things that we know about standing tall and how to hold our bodies in space and even how to sit at a computer, the ribs up, the shoulders back. It's all just taking this great posture in alignment and going ahead and putting movement or forward, just walking movement into it. So you can think about it like that. And I don't want to make it like so many rules that you just can't think straight. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But that being said, let's get on with it, and I'll share with you some things to start with for the feet because, yes, that's where we start, down on the ground. So we know that with TTAP and any kind of good posture, ideally, we want to see if we can keep the toes forward and the feet as parallel on the bottoms, on the sides, I should say, as possible. So for me, I have especially my one leg that always turns out. I mean, that's just the way it is. So I find for me, instead of me thinking, keep my toes straight, I kind of look down and I put my feet right underneath my hip ball joints. And then to get my toes straight, I don't think toes, I think about my heels. And then I just kind of come forward and I take my heels out a little bit. And that way, when I look on the side, my feet are straight. So you might want to try something like that. It's the same thing. A lot of times, instead of me trying to align and get good posture, thinking about what I'm doing with the front of my body, I find that if I focus on the back of the body, the front of the body takes care of itself. Isn't that cool? So I just want to acknowledge, I saw some people come on and I'm so glad. Hey, Cindy, howdy back from Texas. And hey, Lisa. And thank you. I so appreciate it. All right. So that being said now, I like to just start by putting the feet, I say under the hip bone joints. Now, when we start, as we're doing our stepping, where should the feet be? And look, some of us have thighs that are a little bigger and they don't want to touch if I say 4 fingers. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You know, we have our pelvis. I just kind of like to go like this because most of us kind of get that. And then our thigh bones, we call those our femurs, are going to come down like this. So ideally, you want to kind of look down from the center there. Don't necessarily look at your knees right now for this, but adjust so that the middle of your ankle and the top of the foot is in alignment there. And then just kind of draw a line up there, and you're going to see that that's going to hit between about the second and third toe, or right in the center of your foot. So again, when we think about our walking, our alignment, our stance, we want to think about aligned, vertically aligned, that way, okay, as opposed to too much knees out, okay? So in other words, you want the knees to be straight. Now, some of us, especially us beautiful women, have wider hips. Some of us are just born with wider hip bones. And so in that case, what happens is our knees, where our legs are, the knees will tend to be in when you're just standing. That's why I said don't worry so much about the knees. focus on where you're putting your feet. And that's about right, as long as that feels okay to you. So now, from there, let's just roll forwards and backwards a bit on our feet. So back through the heels and up. And just kind of focus, put your brain to body, mind to muscle, down into those feet. And notice how as you're doing that automatically, where do you tend to roll? Where do you tend to put your weight on your foot? So for me, I'm kind of on my heel. I always feel like I'm on the outside of my heel, and then I roll up to about that middle toe. So as you do that rocking and rolling a little bit, then kind of make it a little bit smaller, make it a little smaller and smaller, and then just stop and look down at your feet. Now, remember I said that my one foot turns out, you can't really see it as I'm looking at it in the camera, but as I'm looking down that one toe, yes, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put that heel out just a little bit. But it gives you a sense of how you work through to roll through your feet. Now, how about that in and out on the feet? This is something that we focus a lot on in T-Tap, don't we? So you wanna roll all the way in. Now notice, I'm not focusing on my knees, right? I'm coming right back. But as soon as I roll onto that big toe ball joint, the knees automatically go in. Now as I roll, I'm going to roll to the center. Look at that, my knees are tracking. Now if I roll all the way to the outside, my knees are outside. They're no longer right in alignment. So I know that when we start to go to do our T-Tap workout or our step away, so let's just kind of start to step now that we feel that. And you're just stepping, you're lifting your heels and toes. So these workouts are not a big march. We're not like marching and lifting those knees up high, although that might be part of the workout. But for the time being, we're just going to do some stepping. And you're just really kind of doing you're lifting the heel and dropping ball joint, heel, ball joint, heel. Now, the only reason that I'm even mentioning that is that, especially when you're out walking, you're probably going to notice, because after you start watching people walk, that's what I do. I'm like always watching everybody walk. What you're going to see is so many of us flat foot, meaning we lift right up, but we don't work through the feet, okay? That's why we're talking about doing this. So you want to actually be articulating through the feet, okay? So whether you're doing it barefoot or in shoes, you want to really feel like you're doing that. All right, so enough with the feet. You kind of get the picture. So that's what we're doing. We're just lifting straight up. Now, what I see so many of us doing, because we're so conscious of no big toe ball joint, that we walk like this. Okay, when we do our step away, can you see? And the knees are out. So actually, you want everything aligned. You ideally want to see if you can get, when you're doing this, the knees straight ahead. So it's really more your middle toe that you're going to be off of. Okay, so if you've been doing this, look in the mirror and go, oh my goodness, I've been doing this, and see if you can get back into the level. All right, so enough of that part. Now, the next part of that is the core. This is the most important part. So I want you to think about this, the aligned aspect, right? So really your pelvis, we say the feet are the foundation, but in actuality, the pelvis is, because it separates the lower part of our body and the upper part of our body. So we have to really understand what we're doing with that whole pelvis and the pelvic floor. So when we're doing our step away, or even just standing in our stance with a softened knee, I want you to just put a hand on your lower belly. And you can put a hand on your lower back, but what I want you to focus on, I'm going to just bring my little hand here for my tail, is that you have a tail or a weight that's on your sacrum, and it's going down. It's drawing your tailbone down a bit into the ground to really ground you, almost connecting to your heels. And what you're going to find is, so I'm going to undo that. Now, if I take my thing down, automatically, I'm drawing my belly in. So I don't have to think about, oh, let me pull my belly in, now I can't breathe. It's not that. It's a cinching in from there, so you can still breathe just perfectly by having that there. And what you're going to find now is you've just grounded yourself, It's really nice for the lower back. You're not either tucking under with too much weight there or arching it out. It's just a really nice kind of a neutral-like spine. So that's what we're going to do with the pelvis. Now, the next part is the lifting of the torso weight up. So if you're doing this with me, I want you to just kind of start doing this. Long arms, we're not going to worry about the arms yet. You're just kind of lifting and dropping. Don't worry about lifting ribs right now. Just notice what you feel and how you feel. Then I want you to stop for a second, and I want you to just do your leg back and forth, okay? Just not thinking about anything. Notice how easy it is to move that leg back and forth, okay? And we're going to come back to that in a second. So normally when we're walking or we're standing, we have all of our torso weight just cinched in and hanging here on our hips so that that weight is there, and actually it makes it a little bit harder to slide the legs back and forth. So now we're going to do a little move that we call the shirt pull. It's a way to get that torso weight up out of the hips so that we allow the spine, the skeleton, and those muscles to hold us up. So let's do it. You're going to cross your hands at the wrist. Just notice which one you have in front and just pretend like you're pulling that shirt off. So you're going to lift it up over your head. Once the arms are there, reach up. I like to say, like, reach up from under your bra or the rib cage. Lift it up. Do you see how much more space I just got from rib to hip? A lot. We're going to show that again. Now, I'm just going to gently let my arms float down as though I was putting a shirt back on. Drop, but I'm going to keep those ribs lifted. So in other words, I'm not up with the shoulders, I'm down here. So if you've done that with me, now, see how much easier, like my leg isn't even touching the ground, right? So by lifting your ribs up, keeping that whole torso weight up, supported by your skeleton, the bones, and those muscles, it gives you so much more ease of movement on the lower part of your body. Isn't that cool? So that's what we're looking for. Now, what I just did was lifting, doing the shirt pull. And if you're going to do that too, here's a really neat thing to do. Just kind of stand like you normally would. Can you see how I just slumped, right? The girls dropped. I'm just kind of there. But listen, this is how most of us stand, right? This is why Posture Power is so great, and it's so anti-aging, because you can see the difference between the slump and when we lift those ribs up. So what I want you to do is just take one hand across to the other side of your body. See if you can find your lowest rib and put your thumb there, and then put your pointer finger right at the top of the rib. You can see I don't have a whole lot of space there. Now, pretend like you're pulling the shirt up and off. Lift from under there. And can you see how much more I got? I got at least twice as much. Now I'm going to slowly relax the shoulders, but maintain that. So from the way that I looked before till now, lifting, right, you can see how much more we can all get out of it. But remember, that takes a lot of mind to body, mind to muscle, brain to body, to lift it up and to keep it there. So be really gentle with yourself and know that as you get going, you're going to slump back down. And then we shirt pull again. I like to also do a nice big inhale, exhale, and drop. Good. Now with the shoulders, again, you know, throughout the day, those shoulders keep lifting, and we have to make sure that we're dropping them down. So as you lift the ribs, the other thing that you can do is inhale, hunch. Again, connect your brain to the back. I want you to think. Engage your upper back, or think about your shoulder blades here. So you're going to kind of squeeze the shoulder blades gently, and then watch. I'm just going to slide the blades down, but keep the ribs up so you can see how nice that looks. So again, this is why I say I love to focus on the back of my body to allow the front of the body to do exactly what it needs to do. One of the next parts then is, what do we have? We've got the feet, we've got the pelvis, we've got the ribs, we got this big cranium. And boy, when we go walking, now if you're walking a walking workout, because I'm so short, I'm always lifting my head up like this. And you can see how hard that's going to be on your neck. So what you want to do always is think about, you can even do this, put a thumb on your chest, a finger underneath, kind of do that forward head jut, and then with that finger, tuck it back in. Here's another nice analogy. See if this works for you. You can go forward almost like you're on a boat ramp. You know how the boat ramp drops down and the boat goes down into the water, and now you're going to pull that boat back up. So you're going to draw that chin in and then feel like somebody's pulling you up, not from the top of the head, but the top back of the head, and lift up. And that will feel so good. I mean, it's just that way. Your ear is in aligned with the center of your shoulder, essentially around the middle of the hip and the middle of the ankle. That's what I'm talking about with that vertical alignment. And when you're in this good alignment, again, the skeleton, the bones were designed to hold you up, not having the muscles push us all out into all these different angles and positions. But let's face it, as we go through life, some of us have injury. Sometimes we're very maybe right-handed or more left dominant, same thing. And then that's how we create muscle imbalance. And one of the beautiful things about our workouts are that we really work a lot on posture power and muscle rebalancing. It's huge. And it's also huge for inch loss, because sometimes you'll see that when we go to measure, people are always like, how come like my one arm is like an inch bigger than my other arm? And the same thing with the leg. Well, that's why, because we do have a lot of muscle imbalance. So it's really fun to pay attention to how you can rebalance. All right, so that's that. Next part has to do with our arms. So most of us, when our shoulders are rolled forward, because what do we do all day, right? We're slouching, so we got that back thing going on. The shoulders roll forward, the palms are facing back. So as we do our shirt pull, we're lifting up, we're gently dropping down, right? Shoulder blades lifting back. Automatically, your hands are going to come to the center of your body. So as you go to walk, you want to make sure that you're not slouching this way. So you just want to think, if you work on the shoulders, bringing that shoulder blade in and dropping them, the arms will automatically go along with you, which is really fun. Now, as you're doing this and feeling this and maybe bringing the arms out a little bit longer, can you kind of get a sense that if you're out, especially out walking or even doing this, that these long arms, I'm just going to call them long pendulums, that are swinging from this very beautiful, tight aligned core, is really going to slow the movement down. Can't you feel that? So let's just pretend like now we're outside walking. When we want to go fast, what do we typically do? We bring the foot in front of us and we go long arms. But in actuality, that's going to slow us down because these are long pendulums. So the body has to go all the way to here and all the way to there. So when you're looking at getting that heart rate up in your stepaways, once you get yourself warmed up and everything's going, then automatically you want to go and bend those arms 90 degrees. Okay, 90-degree angle. I like to put my fingers and thumbs together in that little kind of donut hand. And now you're going to start to swing the arms. So instead of having a long pendulum slow you down, now you're going to have these short pendulums. And it's just amazing, isn't it, to watch that, how much different that feels. It's so much easier to go fast. Again, that's a huge tip, bending at the elbows 90 degrees. So when you go outside to walk, watch people. So often I just want to go up and go, just bend your arms to here. So let me give you another thing for arms and going fast. Again, this you can use in your stepping here, and you can use it outside when you walk. Now, as you're going back and forth, what do you want to do? You want to think that about having your power is actually behind you, pushing you forward. Doesn't that make sense? So if somebody's in the front trying to pull you forward, it's not the same energy as somebody from the back pushing you along. Behind is really where your power is. So if you want to start to walk fast, okay, you want to think about having that power going that way. And the way that you're going to do that is by driving your elbows back. So what did I talk about? Thinking about the back of our body. Here it is again. So thinking about really drawing the elbows back, and how far back? Well, ideally, See how far I brought this hand? It's all the way to the edge of here. Now, when one goes back, of course, the other's going to come forward. So how forward does it go? Well, we don't want to go past the midline. Again, we're thinking about alignment, posture. You can think physics, right? So if you're trying, here's your line to go as fast and as efficiently as possible, you want to be tight around that center core spine. And if you can do that, letting the hips move, I'm just kind of doing this. I look like I'm dancing, but it really is a very similar kind of move. I know I'm bringing my knees in, but I'm doing this to give you an example. You don't want to have one arm coming way across the center, because that's going to push the hip everywhere because the body works aligned. So you're going to bring one arm back and the other, see where it comes up to? The midline. Other side, the midline. So that's what you want to think about. The arms go back. And I know this is a lot to think about, but I'm just giving you a little bit, especially when you go outside to walk. You can kind of think about, okay, I want to go fast. So what did Renee say? 90 degrees. Let me see about this. So that's another great tip. One of the things that I have found to be the most effective thing at really helping you see and get a sense of how are you walking, and I'm talking about outside, have somebody do a video of you behind you, okay, as you're walking so you can see the back. It is really revealing. So what are you going to watch for? Well, number one, watch and see where your arms are. Here's what I see so often, a couple of different things. One is, let's just assume you're doing the bent elbow. One is one elbow goes way back and the other barely moves. Can you see that? So when you think about what happens there, when one elbow is back and the other barely moves, the hip has to compensate, right? It might actually be coming from the hip because your hips are tight, and then you have that constant one-sided thing going on, which just reinforces that muscle imbalance. So that's why it's really helpful to watch yourself, get a sense of what you're doing so that you can slow it down and see if you can rebalance what's happening there, especially if you find that you're in some pain. You have hip pain all the time, your feet hurt, upper body. Get a sense of what you're doing, how you're moving in space. Here's another thing that I see. Wings. Wings are out, right? So if your wings are out to the side as you're winging those elbows out, it's not so much that you're going to get hurt, but it's not very efficient, okay? Because you're wasting energy doing that. You want to bring them in and go like this. Okay, so I think you get the picture. So those are a couple little tips that you can do with that. Now I'm going to give you 2 more tips for indoor walking. The next one is, as you're doing your walking workout, I'm going to keep doing this with the legs. Remember, you want the knees in alignment, tailbone is down. Let's do a shirt pull. So you're going to lift up, lift the ribs, drop it back down, bending at the elbows, and back you go. So here's what I see so many people doing when they go to do a walking workout, because they want to go fast. Can you see what I just did? I'm moving my upper body forward. Now, it looks like I've got good energy and good momentum, and I do. So you're going to get your heart rate up, but just try it. Bend at the forward. Bring that upper body forward. You can even do a lot with those elbows, but you're not going to feel any tightening and toning in here. Notice the difference between that, ribs up, shoulder blades back and down, and now I'm off and going. Try it. You're going to be blown away by the difference just that makes. If you do nothing else with your walking workout, get the ribs up and keep shoulder to hip in alignment. That will supercharge your results, especially in here from waist to knees. Now, you know, on our step-aways, we do a lot of step together, step together, step together, and so do other walking workouts. But here's the difference. What do the other walking workouts do? Typically, they have the toes out, even if it's a little bit, right? And they're up and downing. They're coming forward and back, forward and back. Okay, you can see that, forward and back. And try it. Again, you're going to burn some energy, but you're not really feeling a whole lot. This is why those step-aways are so powerful. Instead, you're going to keep that foot really straight on the side. And when you go over, look what I'm doing. The knee is going more to the little toe, but I'm kind of going over almost like in a unit from the knee to the ankle. You don't have to think about it. Just think, keep your toes straight, lead with the knee on this. You can even swing the hip and try to keep your shoulder to hip on this, right? So even if you do something like this, so you can see I'm keeping my shoulders and my hips in a straight line. Boy, it doesn't take a lot of those before you start to feel all this in the side of your hips. And that's why it is such a great inch toner. So I hope that these tips have helped you. I don't want to overdo like I typically do tonight. Let me just see if anybody else is here to say hi. Hey, Kim, thank you. And Jennifer, good to see you. So I know that Jennifer is a diabetes educator. She's just great. She works with so many people. And our step-aways, well, all of T-TAP, but our step-aways are really, really good to help control blood sugar. Because why? We're working every muscle with every movement aligned. And we're working all those big muscles along with the smaller muscles. And that's what really helps the body utilize that blood sugar in a really great way. So yes, our hoedowns work, but our step away the inches walking workouts are amazing for that as well. So thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate it. And if there's anything else that you would like tips on specifically, please leave it, put it in the comments here, or send a message right here at the T-TAP workout. Just send a message, say begin, and just leave me some comments on things that you'd like to learn. And that way I can schedule Be Live just for you. Blessings. Have a great, great night, and I'll see you again soon.